Hey everyone, it's Albie. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Sorry for the long hiatuses or hiatuses, I don't know the plural, but I've been really busy. I've been trying to really get a lot of stuff done, but I'm here with my mid-month wrap up. I do have a good bit of books that I was able to read. I just need to get in the swing of things and reviewing them for my channel. So I'll start off with the first book that I finished this month. It was Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor-Jenkins-Reid. It's a very popular book, so I don't know if I'm going to do a whole dedicated video to it because I think others have already done it and done it better. And I particularly read romances, which this is not, but I did enjoy the book. It was one of those books where it didn't necessarily set at a 5 the whole time, but it did end up at a 5-star read for me. But I'd say a good portion of it, the beginning was really good, and in the middle was just kind of slow and boring for me, and there was a twist at the end, which I really did enjoy, and that's what sort of ended up making me give it a 5. So for those who don't know, Daisy Jones and the Six is sort of based on a band that broke up called the Civil War. And it's also sort of, you can't ignore it, it's not fully based on, but it's really similar to Stevie Nicks and I think his name was Lindsey Buckingham, Fleetwood Mac. I mean, it's 70s, it's rock and roll, it's lead female singer, it's a band, so you can't ignore the Stevie Nicks context with Daisy Jones, unfortunately. But so if you like sort of Stevie Nicks, or you like rock and roll sort of stories, I think you would enjoy it. It's written in a really unique way. I would describe it as sort of reading a transcript of a documentary. So the whole book is written documentary style, where all of the characters, who are presumed to be real, are telling their story of one of the greatest bands that ever existed in the 70s and their breakup or whatever, and why they dismembered after, you know, a huge success. So what was interesting was it was written in all reflection of 40 years after the fact, which I thought was pretty cool. So the author does say, the author meaning the author telling the story, not only Taylor, the actual author, but they go into detail saying that, you know, people have passed on since this happened. These are all memories and recollections. People were not always sober during portions of these times. So it was a unique ride. I was talking with a friend on Instagram about it, and we both sort of agreed that Daisy Jones isn't necessarily a character you're going to root for in the story. And she's not necessarily my favorite person from the book. I really enjoyed the character of Karen. She's the other female in the band of the Daisy Jones and the Six. I had to think of what it was. And she's the keyboardist on it in the band. And I guess she's sort of modeled after, I can't think of her name, but the other woman that was in Fleetwood Mac that just recently passed away. I know she did keyboard and stuff. But overall, Daisy Jones was a really interesting story. I did like it, and I'm really interested to read Ms. Reid's other work, which is what's it? It's The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I do believe is sort of based on the life of Elizabeth Taylor. I love Elizabeth Taylor. If I don't know, I actually have a semi-successful Instagram dedicated to Elizabeth Taylor, which is really funny. I don't really talk about it, and I don't really share it because I have enough followers and I'm always busy with it, but I do love Elizabeth Taylor, so I think I might pick that one up as well to read. But Daisy Jones, 5 stars. Like I said, not a romance, but it was a really unique story and had a fun twist at the end, which I really did enjoy. The next work I read was Roses in Red Wax by Louise Mayberry. This was an ARC that I was sent by Ms. Mayberry, so thank you very much for the ARC. I did enjoy the story. It had some of my favorite tropes. Roses in Red Wax is a historical romance, and I really did like it. So it features Jane and Percy. Percy is sort of a free-spirited musician. He doesn't have like a lot of focus in his life. He's one of those guys where he has money so he can sort of do what he wants, but he has good intentions. And so he has this, you know, wild, free spirit. He goes to Scotland. That's where his father is and where sort of the money is made. And Percy has a rude awakening when he finds out that his fortune and the father's business, which will one day be his business, is a spinning mill that is operated, or not operated, but it's like using children to do the business. So, you know, not the greatest thing to have, you know. It definitely happened during that time. You know, children were definitely exploited, and child labor was, you know, pretty horrific. I mean, there were jobs specifically made for children because they were so small. They get into like little crawl spaces and stuff to do like chimney sweeps and mining. Even in America, you know, children were miners because they were so small they could get into tighter places than an adult could, which, you know, horrifying, but, you know, it happened. Well, anyway, Percy, while he's over in Scotland, meets this alluring Highland beauty of Jane. She is a widow, and the two sort of have this rekindling relationship. I really did love that this was a widow heroine. I really do enjoy widow heroines, especially in the historical romance context. I just think that's a really interesting position to be in life back then, because you didn't you had rules, but you didn't have as many rules, but it was also like you were not really a pariah, but no one really wanted you to bring down the vibe sort of thing. So I do think widow heroines are very interesting, specifically in that historical lens. So the two, of course, hit it off. Don't want to give too much away, but if you like second chance romances, you like widow heroines, I think you will definitely love Roses in Red Wax by Louise Mayberry. I gave it 5 stars. I did enjoy it. It is semi-spicy. I gave it, I think, 3 peppers. So there are about 4 scenes of fun activity in the story. And so, you know, it's like up there with like Bridgerton or Eloisa James or Joanna Shoup sort of thing. So, you know, it's not, you know, all the way, all the way sweet and demure. But it's a very, very good story. And book 2 does release pretty soon. I don't know if I'm able to say the title and all that, but if I can, I will let y'all know, because I am on the art team for that one as well. And that one is Cameron's story, who is a really cool character in the first book. So I'm very excited for book 2. It has a really pretty cover. I really do love the second cover a lot. I like the first one, but the second one's really cute. And the next book I read was actually a novella by my friend Nicole Highland. It was Forever in Love. It was really sweet. It was a friends to lovers. It was a meet cute. It was secret admirers. So we have Laurel and Aiden, both of which are young adults that have really had strong feelings for one another. Aiden worked at the pizza place that Laurel always gets her pizza from, and usually every Friday night she tries to order pizza for fun and in the hopes that she will see Aiden again. So she orders a pizza, and she does run into Aiden, and you know, things happen where they can't always talk to one another. So I thought that was really cute. So it's one of those stories where they have all these mishaps where they can't actually get into the relationship until later. So it was a 5-star read. It was no spice. It was clean, you know, like Hallmark energy, which I do like. It's good to have a palate cleanse every now and again. So Forever in Love, really cute. It had a really sweet animal named Shadow, black cat. And I also had a black cat at one point, and the cat has like some really fun he helps a lot with getting the two together. So I don't want to spoil it. It's really short. Novella, super, super short. I think it's 99 cents. It might be free on Kindle Unlimited. I'm not sure, but it's definitely worth, you know, 99 cents. Super cute. So Forever in Love by Nicole Highland. Really did love that one. That was 5 stars. The next one I read 2 sort of spicy books that I didn't necessarily love. I read The Worst Guy by Kate Canterbury. This is my friend Justine's favorite book of all time, pretty sure. And I read it, and it wasn't for me. I gave it 3 stars. It was, I think it's actually book 2 in a series. You don't have to read them in order at all. I'm pretty sure the friend of Sebastian, I can't remember his name. I'm pretty sure he and his wife or girlfriend, they were the characters from the first in the series. I'm pretty sure. That's sort of how it read to me. It was okay. So it has stars. The main characters are Sebastian and Sarah. They both work at a medical hospital. Sarah is in like plastic surgery, like more like car crash plastic surgery, not like I want a facelift sort of thing. Which, I mean, I think it's the same thing. But Sebastian is in like trauma surgery, I think. And to me, it relied too much on like workplace drama and workplace romance. If you are really big into like Grey's Anatomy or is it Chicago MD or New Amsterdam and all those medical dramas, you want like a medical drama zaddy thing, I think you'll definitely really enjoy The Worst Guy by Kate Canterbury. I just don't necessarily love medical dramas. I don't love the setting, you know, I don't really like hospitals. So, you know, that kind of brought it down for me. The main tropes for The Worst Guy are enemies to lovers, as well as, I think it's called Stern Brunch Daddy, which I think is, if you've read Marrying Winterbourne by Lisa Kleypas, Rouse Winterbourne is considered like the peppermint chewing Stern Brunch Daddy, which I asked my friend, it's basically like an upper class waspy. Doesn't necessarily have to be white Anglo-Saxon, but you know, preppy, well-dressed, clean fingernails. So yeah, Stern Brunch Daddy with Sebastian. It is really spicy, but I wasn't really into the characters. And there was a scene where I think it was supposed to be like hot, and it was like really a turn off for me. Was there was like an altercation in the hallway, and like Sebastian like grabs Sarah around the neck and like does like the whole like, I'm gonna pin you in the wall and choke you, but like seductively. And I was like, unless you're giving permission. I did not like that at all. I don't like they weren't even in a relationship. They weren't dating. It wasn't like, you know, you might want to ask someone before you just sort of start cutting off their air supply. It just really took it down for me on this story. I was sort of like, okay, I'm done. And that was like 30% in. And I was like, oh no, I have a lot more to read. Because it's a pretty long book. It was, I want to say it was like over 400 pages. And I know it's bad, but sometimes I feel like independent books that are like 500, 600, even 400 pages, I feel like you know, you might have wanted an editor, you know, or a good friend that edited or something, because I just feel like some of these books don't need to be that long. You know, I want to read Megan Quinn. I really want to read her new hockey book. It's like, I don't know what it's called. It's like book 3. It's got a ladder or something. I want to read that one, but I have another one that she just wrote. That's, I think, they all have like the same title, unfortunately. But it's basically, I think, supposed to be like My Best Friend's Wedding, which is one of my favorite movies. And I thought, oh, I'll read that book. And then it was like 471 pages. And I'm like, I want to read it, but I don't know if I want to get into something like that right now, just because I read a couple pretty long books this month and it's kind of been draining. It's nice to have some shorter ones, which short for me is like 200 pages. But it's nice to have, nice to not be like stuck in a book for days, you know. So The Worst Guy wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. I might read some more by Miss Canterbury, just not right away. And I probably will not read other books from the whatever the series is called, like the medical dorms or something like that, just because I don't like medical dramas. So I'm going to do a little more research, definitely with those. But I think the one is like Something in Jam, supposed to be really good. So I might pick that one up. But Worst Guy was fine. It's 3 stars. The next book that surprisingly I gave 3 stars to is another one of my friend's best favorite books, and that is Priest by Sierra Simone. It was another 3-star read for me. It took me forever to find the heroine's name because I could not remember it, and I had to do some research to remember her name, and no one talked about her name, and I thought, well, that kind of explains a lot about the story. So Priest it's one of those books. It is a priest, dark, forbidden, taboo romance, and like I have this strong feeling, I think it's pretty true, if it is a book that is not your specific kink or a vibe you want to explore, so to speak, you're not going to love it. You know, I don't really care for priest romances. I read it, and it's one of those where if you're not really into this sort of like forbidden, ooh, look but don't touch sort of thing, you're not really going to like it. And that's how I was, you know, sort of like a lot of those age gap romances where it's like Birthday Girl, for example. You know, I could care less that that was her ex-boyfriend's dad, who was like conveniently 18 years or 16 years older than his son or whatever. It just relied too much on like that sort of kink and getting the reader excited about that kink than actually developing more of a storyline or plot. I know that's a little harsh, but that's just how I felt. Like I do like more spicy books. Like I loved The Pool Boy by who's that by? Pool Boy, Nikki Sloan. I really did like The Pool Boy by Nikki Sloan. Do I want a pool boy? No, I don't. I don't want a pool. It's a lot of work. My aunt had a pool. It's a lot of work, you know. And honestly, you know, every time I think of Pool Boy, I do think of that book, but I also think of Legally Blonde, you know, with her pool boy, Brooke Shields. No, Brooke Shields is an actress. Brooke Wyndham or something like that. So yeah, Priest had Tyler and Poppy. Could not remember the name Poppy to save my life. I was going to call her Kimberly because I could not remember Poppy. And it was just one of those books. Sorry, I had to fix my hair. Like if you're not into the whole forbidden fruit sort of whatever, you're just not really going to vibe with it. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say for Priest. But I will say book 2 has me intrigued because it is the brother of Tyler, who is the priest, no ex-priest. Spoiler alert. And I think he falls in love with a nun. And I love some like teach me romances. So I don't know if she was always been a good girl nun or she had a past and now she's a nun. It's probably one of those. Knowing how the storyline for Priest went, it's probably like she had like a kid at 16 that went up for adoption and she became a nun probably. Which I mean, what's that? Not Gianni Schicchi. What's the opera? Suor Angelica by Puccini. You know, it's probably that sort of thing, but happy ending. I don't know. But book 2, I think it's called Sinner. I don't know. I think that one is a nun and a bad guy, a bad boy. I might pick that one up because I do like the teach me romances. All right, the next book I have written down was Prowling Their Mate, which I forgot to write down the author's name and the characters. So it had, I believe their names were Brandon and Tyler, excuse me, while I look up the book, which is not in order on my Kindle. So it was interesting. I don't really have to tell you the characters' names. I gave it 3 stars. Brandon and Tyler, they're twins. They're twin brothers. They are shifters. They become mountain lions. They fall in love with their heroine. Let's call her Kimberly. I don't know. I can't remember her name. And they all, with their sort of shifting thing, they only have one mate. They both share a girl. And so this unsuspecting young woman is their mate, and they realize it. And it's a reverse harem, polyamorous. It's twins. And she has twins at the same time. You know, so it's a fairly short book. I thought it was like 150 pages. You know, I read it in a day. I read it in a couple hours. So fairly short. It had some good plot. It just wasn't for me, I might actually give it 4 stars, but definitely have to be aware of all the stuff that comes with the twins and all that. So, you know, definitely more on the wild side than mild for sure. But Prowling their mate, I will put a picture. I think her name was Ashley. I had 2 authors. Oh, I cannot find it. My Kindle doesn't want to put books in order. All right, the next book I read was Summer Dreams by Laura John. It was an ARC that I was sent by the author. Thank you very much, Laura John, and your art team for sending it to me. Appreciate it. This is an MM romance. It was a second chance romance, age gap, and the daddy stereotype. It featured Jax and Kev, who are actually characters from the 3rd book in the series, which I did do a review on. It's the one all my friends are like, is that Jake Gyllenhaal? Because the cover model looks a lot like Jake Gyllenhaal. But Summer Dreams, I'll put a picture here. Really cute. I did give it 5 stars. It was kind of a big departure for Laura John because it did feature a sort of secondary thriller in it where there's a kidnapping. So a little bit different for her books. I did like it. I think she might have done more like mystery stuff in earlier work, so it's maybe not a huge departure for her books, but definitely interesting. I really did like Jackson Kev. They are introduced in book 3. You don't have to read them in order at all. I've read books 1, 3, and 4. 2, I was really sick during the ARC thing, so I need to pick it up at some point because it's like a Halloween police officer romance, so I've definitely picked that one up. And then the last book that I read, like by the 15th of this month, was a book by Tracy Sumner. It's a historical romance called The Ice Duchess. It's book or the prequel to her series. The first one is The Brazen Blue Stocking. So in this story, The Ice Duchess, it featured Georgiana and Dexter. It was another second chance / widow romance, which I love. I told you earlier, I love second chance widow romances. Dexter and Georgiana, she goes by Georgie, he goes by Dex. Really sweet. It's one of those where he's looking for a bride for his like status to stay the same. You know, he's like a duchess or whatever. And she's like, oh, I'll help you through a party so you can find a girl. And he's like, okay, sure. And he's like, actually, I want you to be that girl, that duchess. And so I really do like those stories where it's like, we as the reader know how they feel before they know, and it's sort of like she knows she likes him, he knows he likes her, but they're trying to avoid telling each other that because they don't think they're suitable, or she doesn't think she's suitable for him. He really likes her. So I just like that. I think those are fun to read. I love the like friends, they don't know that we know that they know that we know sort of thing. So I did enjoy The Ice Duchess a lot. I was sent the first book by Tracy Sumner and her art team, so I will be reviewing that really soon because I really did like this one. And this is a novella, so I guess it sets up the beginning of book 1. I'm not fully sure since I haven't started book 1 yet, but it looks really, really cute, and I really did like the story, and it's like 100 pages, so really short, and I believe it's 99 cents to purchase, or I think it is free on Kindle Unlimited. If not, it's 99 cents, so, you know, cheaper than McDonald's, literally, to get a book and read. So I liked it. It was 5 stars. And those were all the books that I read in the first part of March. So I've done a lot of reading this month, and hopefully I get a few more. I just started a new book. Of course, it's not loading. It's 7 Alien Brothers for 7 Brides for 7 Alien Brothers by Honey Phillips. I don't know if you can see that from here. But that's the book I'm reading right now. Really cute. I think it's going to be a little bit sort of like Ice Went Barbarians, which I love that series. Thank you, Brandy, for introducing me. But yeah, I'm excited. So I want to get this video up and hopefully up on Tuesday and have a few more reviews for you for this week. So if there's a book that is a standout that you would really love for me to cover, let me know and I'll try to do a fully dedicated video to it. If no one says anything, I'll just sort of pick and choose. Well, everyone, have a great day and I will see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.